Imagine walking into a mall just to buy a simple gift for your best friend and walking out in handcuffs, accused of a crime you didn't commit. That's exactly what happened to Amara, a 17-year-old girl whose quiet shopping trip turned into a nightmare. What the officers didn't know, though, was that the teenager they humiliated in front of a crowd was the daughter of the police captain himself. And what happened next shocked everyone watching. This is HB Vibes, your home for shocking and emotional war stories. Hit like, smash that subscribe, and let's dive into the drama. The mall was alive with its usual weekend energy. Music drifted from store speakers, the scent of fresh pretzels filled the air, and chatter echoed through the polished corridors. Families moved in clusters, children tugging parents toward toy shops, teenagers laughing with friends, and couples strolling hand in hand. Among them walked Amara Williams, a 17-year-old high school junior. She wasn't flashy or loud. Instead, she moved with a quiet confidence that made her stand out without trying. Her curly hair framed her face, and her simple gray t-shirt and jeans spoke of practicality rather than show. Amara carried a small backpack over her shoulder. Inside were her notebooks, a pencil case, and a water bottle, the essentials of a diligent student who had come straight from a Saturday study session at the library. Her mission today was simple: find the perfect birthday gift for her best friend, Layla. She strolled into a boutique jewelry store. Glass cases shimmered with delicate necklaces, silver bracelets, and earrings that caught the light like tiny stars. Amara leaned over one of the displays, her eyes catching a dainty silver necklace with a hard pendant. "That's perfect," she whispered to herself. She imagined Layla's face lighting up, her best friend's laughter filling the room. She held the necklace carefully, then checked the price tag. A little expensive, but she had saved up her allowance for weeks. With a smile, she set it aside and browsed further, humming quietly to herself. But while Amara thought only of her best friend's happiness, unseen eyes were already following her. At the edge of the boutique, two young mall officers, Officer Carter and Officer Blake, stood watch. Fresh out of training, both were eager to prove themselves. Their uniforms were crisp, their radios clipped proudly to their belts. But their inexperience was written in the way they carried themselves, nervous energy mixed with eagerness. Carter nudged Blake steadily. "Keep an eye on her," he muttered, nodding toward Amara. Blake glanced over. "What for?" "She's been walking around, touching items, hasn't bought anything yet." Backpack on her shoulder, could be one of those shoplifters. "You know how it is." Blake frowned. He hadn't seen anything suspicious, but Carter's words planted a seed. The two began watching Amara closely, their eyes narrowing as she examined different pieces of jewelry. To them, her pause in front of each display, her careful handling of items, even her smile, all of it fed into their assumption. Meanwhile, Amara had no idea she was being judged. She had always trusted in the fairness of others, never imagining that just browsing in a store could make her a target. When Amara finally picked up the silver necklace and walked toward the counter, Carter and Blake stepped in. Their presence was sudden, their voices firm enough to silence nearby chatter. "Miss, we need you to stop right there," Carter commanded. Amara froze mid-step, confusion washing over her face. I was just going to pay for this," she said softly, holding up the necklace. "We've had reports of theft," Blake said, his tone sharp. "You'll need to open your bag." The room shifted, shoppers turned their heads, phones lifted into the air. The once ordinary moment transformed into a public spectacle. Amara's cheeks burned. "Theft? I haven't stolen anything." "Then you won't mind showing us your bag?" Carter pressed. With trembling hands, Amara unzipped her backpack. She revealed her notebooks, her pencil case, her water bottle, nothing more. But instead of ending the matter, the officers exchanged skeptical looks. "This doesn't mean you're clear," Carter said. "You'll need to come with us." Amara's heart pounded. "But I didn't do anything wrong. Please, I was just shopping." Her voice carried desperation, but the officers didn't soften. Around her, whispers spread. Some bystanders frowned with sympathy, others whispered judgments. And through it all, cameras recorded every second. Despite finding nothing, Carter reached for Amara's arm. "You'll answer questions at the station." Amara recoiled slightly, her voice trembling. "Please, you're making a mistake." "Save it," Blake said curtly, grabbing her other arm. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The image was stark. Two uniformed officers restraining a young black teenager in the middle of a mall. Amara's chest heaved as tears pricked at her eyes, but she fought to hold them back. She remembered her father's words, "Never let them make you feel small." so she kept her chin high, even as humiliation wrapped around her like chains. She thought of Layla's birthday, of the necklace she never got to buy. She thought of the stares from strangers, of how they would remember her not as a student or friend, but as that girl who got arrested at the mall. Still, she refused to let the tears fall. As the officers escorted Amara through the mall, a familiar figure appeared in the distance. Captain James Williams, dressed in plain clothes, was walking toward the boutique. He had planned to meet Amara after her shopping trip, but when he saw the crowd, the cameras, and, at the center of it all, his daughter being held by two recruits, his world stopped. "Amara," he called, his voice carrying over the murmurs. She looked up, relief flooding her face. "Dad," the officers froze. Carter blinked. "Wait, sir, this is..." Captain Williams's face hardened. "What exactly are you doing with my daughter?" Blake stammered. Sir, we thought she was acting suspicious." "You thought?" The captain's voice thundered. "Did you see her take anything?" "And no, sir." "Did you find anything in her bag?" "No, sir." The captain's jaw tightened. "Then you just humiliated an innocent young woman, my daughter, in front of an entire mall without a shred of evidence." The silence that followed was deafening. Carter and Blake's faces turned crimson. They had wanted to prove themselves, but instead, they had made a spectacle out of their own rash judgment. The crowd, still recording, whispered in shock. Some applauded the captain for standing up. Others shook their heads at the unfairness of what had just unfolded. Amara, her father's hand now steady on her shoulder, finally spoke. Her voice was calm, but it cut deeper than anger ever could. "You didn't see me as a daughter, or a student, or just a girl shopping. You saw me as a problem before you even knew my name." Her words hung in the air, heavy with truth. The officers looked away, unable to meet her gaze. For the first time, they realized what their actions had cost, not just their pride, but the dignity of a young woman who deserved so much better. That evening, Amara sat at home with her father. The day still weighed on her, but she felt proud that she hadn't broken down. Her father, his voice softer now, said, "Today was hard. But you stood tall, Amara. And sometimes, dignity is the strongest answer to injustice." The story quickly spread online. Videos of the incident went viral, sparking outrage. Many praised Amara's courage, while others criticized the officer's behavior. In the days that followed, Carter and Blake issued a public apology. They admitted their mistake, acknowledging that assumptions had clouded their duty. For Amara, the incident became more than just a painful memory. It became a lesson in strength. She wasn't just the police captain's daughter, she was a young woman who showed the world that calm dignity could stand taller than prejudice. Her story lived on, reminding everyone that respect and fairness should never be optional. That behind every assumption is a human being with a name, a family, and a story worth hearing. If you felt the heartbeat of this story, give it a like, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to HB Vibes, where every story carries a lesson for the soul.